Oh, okay. Sorry that took a little long. That took a little long. The cuttlefish and asparagus. Uh, the cuttlefish and asparagus and the vanilla pasta. Oh. I'm back. I gotta get the links ready, and we got a lift on this ship, from what I can tell here as well. Let me get the tubes up and running, and then we'll go. Oh, it was a rot. All right, I'll be back in a second. Okay. Do we have an acquisition of signal on the YouTube end? If we do, welcome to the Space and Rocket Review. Space and Rocket Review. YouTube chats. Tell your friends. You in the hat. Space and Rocket Review. What's going on, everybody? It's Monday. You know what, dudes? I'm just gonna get we're just gonna get right into it because we do have here. There's some stuff that's going on right now. Check it out. So this is this pad at Boca Chica, not that pad. That's that one over there. This pad and that pad. This pad is picking up ship 37 to put it on its jerry rig test stand here.
And that's why we.
And Adrian is talking. All right. Is this Mega Made? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what a ship catch is going to look like soon. Just saying. Space, check. Rocket, check. Review, in progress. Oh my gosh, they caught a ship. They caught a ship. Yep, so this is coming from our buddies over at NSF here. Those pins are mighty low. Huh? Yeah, I guess. Anyway, that's what's going on. And now, speaking of NSF, guys, and I want to bring myself center screen. I'll keep an eye on what's going on with the lift here in a moment. Okay, so here's the thing. I listened to some feedback about we had a Space News last week where we had feedback for, like doing stuff at NSF. Okay, so I came up with an idea. Me and Adrian came up with an idea. Here's what we're going to do. I want to make sure the topics of discussion on Flame Trench aren't rushed and are actually good, really good topics. So throughout Space News, throughout the week, so the Space News that we do Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we will put together all the biggest things or what you guys want in a list, right? All the biggest articles, the biggest topics, etc., etc. We'll put it in a list, and I'm going to make the list of content and what we talk about during Flame Trench. It's not a crazy big fix, but based off of the feedback that I got, having a bigger laundry list of topics and stuff will help take schedule pressure off of Twiz, right? This Week in Space. So they have some extra time. They have some extra time to, get the video ready, and it's not like, oh, it has to be ready at this exact time, etc., right? That'll make it a lot easier for a Flame Trench to go a little bit longer and have a little bit more in-depth discussion. So that was my thing. So for all the Space News that we do this week, this is a trial test that Adrian and I want to do. For all the Flame Trenches that we're going, or not, for all the Space News is that we're going to do this week, if you want to say, oh, I want to talk about this on Flame Trench, let me know. And I will add it to the document. Sign the document. Having a nice big list of stuff for Flame Trench gives us more things to talk about during Flame Trench and allows for a longer discussion. Give me out how awesome EJ is to the Flame Trench. That's something they already know, Bandit. So that's the changes. So if I'm covering an article, I'll be like, bro, you got to talk about this during Flame Trench. You got to talk about this during Flame Trench. We'll get some assets for it during the Space News, and I will add it. That is the strangest thing I think I've seen from Starbase. Maybe not. Maybe not the strangest, but that one's still pretty strange. So yeah, that's what we're working on here. I have the show notes and the document all ready to go. And we'll do the Space News And if I could borrow a moment of your time at the end of the space news segment, we'll write down what we want. I love Long Flame Trench. I could have it on in the background. Yes, 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 yes. I always thought the ending of a video premiere was kind of dumb. Well, I did some digging. I did some digging and I figured out that they're like, I have till this time because, we get through the flame trench topics, etc., etc. This should take schedule pressure off of them and should allow for a longer flame trench. We'll see. We'll see if it goes through. It's just a trial. We'll see what happens. Yep, they're lowering it now. The big news right now is that Ship 37 is being lowered onto an orbital launch mount, not because it's going into space, but because SpaceX has basically jerry-rigged a test stand for this so they can do complete ship testing in lieu of Massey's and Ship 36 blowing up a month ago. Hey, real quick. If you had a long enough Starship, could it be possible to do point-to-point without the booster? I wouldn't, Methane. You're looking at a diminishing return there. Yeah, Argolix, I know. I know. I'm trying to work on that. What was your reaction when you discovered Ship 36 Faith? What? The ship has a lot of Delta V, depends on where the point is. You're not getting very far without Super Heavy on a global scale. With Super Heavy, you could be in Shanghai in 22 minutes. Without that, you're not getting, maybe, that's a big maybe. Could make it to Hawaii, maybe. You're not making it that far. Hey, Sea Kraken. So they're lowering Ship 37 onto the highly modified, the hot-rodded orbital launch pad here. Ryan, you saying Ship 36 never blew up. It went amazing on Flight 10. What is everybody talking about? Denial is a stinky cologne. Why so many missing tiles? It's not finished. They got to static fire it before they finalize it. Now, would they always go east for point-to-point or also go retro? I don't see any reason why going retro wouldn't work, Mutter. Do we know when this is going to static fire? No. Maybe Wednesday. Maybe. Dang, what a sight. Do you think they will have a backup in place after this for V3? A backup for what, Young Food? I don't know, but that is the strangest thing I've seen. Wow. Okay. They did test the payload bay door on this. And I want to say this, dude. Are you heading down for the launch in mid-August? Nope. I can't do this one. I have I can't do this one. I got to do this one from home, and I'm bummed. But I got to do this one from home. I don't want to talk about it anymore, dude. There's a crane right there coming into view. He's rotating. get rotated, Crane. So, let's see, on the left. The missing tiles aren't what's interesting to you. It's the lack of a blade of underneath like the previous ships. Why is that? It's probably, I don't know. Probably because they haven't finished putting it in, maybe. I don't know. Or they're trying to test something new. So ship 37 was tested at Massey's. So I was not completely wrong. They did resume testing at Massey's a month later, but it was not on the right test stand. I used the wrong formula, but got the right answer. So your boy wasn't completely wrong. Ah, boom, boom. So now what? You did 2 times 2 instead of 2 plus 2. Sure. I don't know, Tessa. Yeah, maybe. That just means you were technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. Yeah, I'll take it, man. Let's say partially right. Hey, that's still right, dude. It still counts. Was this ship tested? Ship 37 has been cryo tested, and its payload bay door opens. This is a tanking and static fire campaign, I think, come through. That needs to be a flame trench topic? All right. I'm going to add that. Testing was done at Massey's about a month after Ship 36 pop. EJ was right. EJ was technically right. Cool. All right. Directionally correct. So what you're seeing here is ship 37 put down on onto the converted orbital launch pad. 728. And I'll add that to the document. On the converted OLM pad A 2 1. Okay. There's our show notes. There we go. Yeah, man, this is all hot rodded, dude. Pretty crazy. Hey, Sweet Potato, what's up, man? I've returned from boot. Oh, yeah, that's right. How'd that go? Yeah, they are letting it down.
No, an actual,
Closures for Wednesday and Thursday
only
for testing,
for
okay?
36. The fact that it only happened twice in 6 years, when Let's be honest. It's a bit of a cowboy rocketry right here, right? And so it seems to me that it was probably a one-off kind of thing. I don't think Ship 37 will.
Hang on. I gotta put background music on. So my headset doesn't go out. Your laundry folding skills are level 99 now. Yeah, anyway, Sweet Potato, welcome back. Glad you made it. So once again, this footage is coming from our buddies over at NSF. That ship looks crooked. Does that look crooked?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Now you're down at Nuke School. Southern Carolina's hot as balls. Yeah, yeah. Yes, it is. South Carolina, excuse me. 99-month resub from Kinder. Thanks, man. Did you place the camera? Not saying the camera's crooked. I'm saying the starship is crooked. Butter. You're crooked. No. Ah, okay, Tessa. Yeah, okay, so it's pretty... Yeah, okay, it's not just me then. Got it. Tessa, that was the worst race I've ever watched, by the way. So, you know, medium tires lasting 75% of the race. That was the worst race I've ever watched. Ever. Like, ever. It was terrible. The cheer for watching. If you hadn't, it would have been a great race. I think you are coping right now. This is a drone over here. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, Sweet Potato.
Go at throttle up.
John Clark is our resident nuke squid. Yep, he's our resident nuke squid. But Ojo, 8-month resub. I wasn't subbed. I'm a terrible spectator. Don't worry about it, man. It's all good. Thank you for doing it, though. That is not an NSF drone. No. Mr. Yak Boyer. Yak. Dude, seriously. They just started welding some tube stock to the top of the booster quick disconnect hood. They just... That's awesome, man. Dude, they just welded that thing right up to the top there and just jury-rigged it. Whatever. That was my home race and I couldn't bear to watch it. It was literally the worst race I've ever watched. Dude, you have a wet tire. What are you using a wet tire for if you're going to wait for the stupid track to be dry? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Brandon, see last. Okay. Ryan said this morning that they might knock down pad A to move it for the trench, but could they put the trench between the tower where it is now and the blast wall? I don't think they would do that. I think they would knock it down. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, Brendan, I think that they're going to take that thing. I think they're going to take the OLM and modify it. I don't think they're going to dismantle it. But I'm probably wrong. SpaceX has a history of just modifying what they have, but that was past SpaceX that wasn't making $24 billion a year. You know what I mean? So they might knock it down. They might get rid of it. Yeah, there you go, Methane, right? Oh, they are lining it up. Look, they have some type of adjustment. The thing is leveling off. Starship will never be a viable product. Other companies like Relativity and Rocket Lab are going to overtake SpaceX in the next 5 years. I think that you're either carrying some cognitive bias there or do not understand how the space industry works. Floor, and I will respectfully disagree. Dude, are you out of your mind? There's no way. Relativity ain't catching them. Maybe competitive, sure, but they're not, dude. Starship will never be a viable product. What about this other thing that SpaceX has called Falcon 9? What about that thing, huh? Disagree all you want. Okay? I think you're wrong, to be honest with you. Hey, Aaron, what's going on? It's just the thought of taking the whole tower down. Yeah, Brendan, I mean, I don't think they're gonna take the tower down, dude. I think they're gonna demolish this thing over here. Not wrong. Yeah, you keep saying that, but you're not giving me any factual, like, what are you talking about? What makes you think that that's going to be a thing? Who did you say? So Relativity, who has no viable product right now, and Rocket Lab. I'm not sure if Rocket Lab could do it. You'd need a market shift. I think Rocket Lab has their own niche market that is independent of SpaceX, and the market would most likely grow. But you're not getting rid of the Starlink network, dude. The Starlink network is Starlink makes SpaceX billions of dollars every year, like billions. And I guarantee you the income from what they're making is enough to fund Starship indefinitely until it works. The Starlink network is obsolete. There's no way you're a serious person. Laser communications are the future. You don't even know that Starlink has optical transmission, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. You're out of your mind. You are not a serious person. There's no way. There's no way. Dude, you are out of your freaking mind, man. I don't think you understand the tech right, man, and that's fine. Like, that's okay. But, dude, I think Relativity is not going to get anywhere near SpaceX if they can't even build their own domes correctly, man. You said that all the Relativity stuff passed qualifications. That's great. Passing qual is awesome, and that could get you to a minimum viable product. How the hell are you going to scale when you're getting your dome, when you're getting your stage domes from Arianespace? There's no way that's happening. I'm sorry, you're not scaling with that business model. Anyone with a sat phone from any other provider can do the same. Then why haven't they, Floor? Why haven't they? That's weird. That's weird. If it's such an easy tech, why aren't other people doing it? No, not SpaceX bashing. Floor Master over there seems to think that SpaceX Starship will never be a viable product, which bold of you to assume. And that Relativity and Rocket Lab will catch them. But I think that is entirely discounting Falcon 9. Like, that's like, Floor, you must be thinking that they're going to get rid of Falcon 9. They'll keep Falcon 9 as long as it's economically viable to do so. Meaning they'll keep it as long as they need it until Starship works. I think you're completely off your rocker if you think anybody is going to scale to SpaceX's levels in the next 5 years without serious capital investment. That is just being naive. I don't think, Dude, Falcon 9 is already giving SpaceX enough revenue to fund this project indefinitely. The Starship program, from Elon's own admission, has a higher budget than NASA. NASA, period. Period. You know, a lot of people say you can't throw money at the problem, dude, but 24 billion? SpaceX revenue is up above 20 billion. Oh yeah, you absolutely can throw money at the problem if you have the technical expertise to back them up. Relativity's never getting to that point, at least not in the next 5 years. I would love it if they did. That would be amazing. And I'm really pumped about Rocket Lab and what they're doing with Neutron. But to think that either one of those companies is going to hit scale that's at least on par with Falcon 9 in the next 5 years, I would say maybe Rocket Lab. Relativity, perhaps, but you're not scaling using Arianespace's domes. That's not happening. Five companies will toast SpaceX in 5 years, guaranteed. Dude, you sound like a day trader. Give me some technical data. You sound like a goddamn day trader. You gonna give me technical data, or you're just gonna sit there, you know, with your, oh, well, I know something you don't. Bro, go fucking buy some Bitcoin and get the hell out of here. Talk technical with me or don't. Why are you mad? Because I'm trying to have a discussion with you and you're not saying anything of use. You're literally wasting these people's time. Don't waste my time. Don't waste my people's time. It's almost down here, dudes. Name one Starship that's been successful and then get back to me. Well, see, Floormaster, right there. That demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of the systems engineering that the Starship program is. Starship is about testing and designing and failing quickly. Okay? If you're going to judge that by a waterfall engineering construct, it's not going to get you anywhere. It looks terrible. But what happens when the thing goes and works? Then what are you going to say? I know, don't worry, you'll probably just move the goalposts like every other person does and say, well, look at how many times they failed before they got a good thing going. Well, that was their declared engineering construct. That's what they did. That's the systems engineering. Starship is using a full iterative design program, so meaning that SpaceX is less risk adverse than another provider would be. Meaning that if it blows up, it blows up. Deal with it. No, Starship has not had one orbital flight. Yeah, sure, absolutely. But the progress is immeasurable here. They've reused a super heavy booster. You're discounting that? Bold of you to do that. The engineering will never be a complete viable product. You keep saying that. You keep saying that like you know something we don't know. So, what is not viable about Starship? Please, let me know. I'm genuinely curious now. What is the major bottleneck towards Starship not being a viable product? Like what's the technical hurdle here? That'd be cool, Aitor, for sure. Aaron, I'm just interested. I like understanding here. I'm waiting, dog. Yeah, that's... Yeah, it's pretty bad, Seacracking, yeah. I remember that. That was a good stream. No, I don't want to... Don't ban them, guys. I mean... I'm just curious now. Let's see. Damn, Liam, bringing the spice. But then again, I brought the spice too. Like, I don't understand. How can you sit here and look at the profits that SpaceX is making and the the amount of money that's getting thrown into R&D. And oh, all right, what do you got? Slush movement of fluid and gases, titanium weld faults, cavitation faults, battery failures, and many more. You don't think that you don't think you're ever going to be able to solve that problem? Cavitation faults. What is a cavitation fault? Not on that structure, it will never work. Bold of you to know the future, dude. And how do you know? Yeah, cavitation fault sounds like ChatGPT to me, Broncos. That's right. What is a cavitation fault? I've never heard anybody call it that before. Add some wings and some wheels and call it a shuttle. Will fail until that occurs. Did you really just say that? Give me 1 second. I don't know, man. I don't think that I don't. Once again, I just genuinely think you don't understand the iterative prototyping that SpaceX is using. What's that, Cyborg? That's not never gonna be a viable product. Change my mind and show me one that has been successful. So Floor, here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you that there hasn't been one that has been fully successful, right? And you're going to say, oh, see, I told you so. But once again, I'm just, you gotta get to the, let's get to the root of this. I don't think you understand what rapid prototyping is. It's not about every flight being 100% successful. Starship is in development, right? It's in development, and SpaceX is less risk adverse, so they will send it. They will send it, and if it blows up, it blows up. Fix it. Launch another one. They'll keep doing that, and they can keep funding doing that until they get it right. I don't think you understand this, or you're deliberately obfuscating that truth. I really think you should reconsider, all right? Because, dude, they can fund this program indefinitely until it works, and with their prototyping design, they'll eventually get it. It's going to keep blowing up. It'll never be right. You must have a magic genie or something, dude, to be able to predict the future. It's really cool. Hey, can you buy me a lottery ticket too? Like, the YouTube stream is a lot newer, Boredom, to be honest with you. Yeah, we got a good thing going here. They could launch that 3,000 times. It'll never work. You keep saying that, but even if it doesn't, they'll be able to keep funding it with Falcon 9 until it does. Dude, you don't understand. They basically have a blank check to get this to work. People do win the lottery. Well, since you're so Since you're so adamant about the future, dude, I would really appreciate it if you bought me a Powerball ticket because, yeah, you'd be able to tell me that it's going to win. That'd be great. They don't have a blank check. You sure about that? Absolutely sure. Dude, I guarantee you right now, I've been reading about funding for space programs for the better part of 15 years, okay? I know how much it takes to get this stuff done. I will tell you right now that 1 year of revenue, 1 year of Starlink revenue, basically at the income level that SpaceX is at right now. Now, once again, financial records aren't publicly disclosed because they are a private company, but you could still have evaluations and you can extrapolate income from that. SpaceX is making, guys, it's got to be, in Florida, it's got to be $20 billion easily. $20 billion a year, dude. The SpaceX's income has passed NASA's budget, and that is something that everyone agrees on. Anybody that's worth their weight in, let's say, titanium here, because you were on about titanium. Dude, 1 year of that money is enough to fund this. That's let's say that's around $20 billion. 1 year is enough to fund this project for the next 5 years indefinitely. Like indefinitely, like no income for the next 4 years. You disagree. What do you disagree? 5 years, SpaceX will lose half of its contracts. It's not, dude, it's not contracts. You're not listening. It's not contracts. The contracts just with NASA, dude, account for like maybe 7% of SpaceX's income. The vast majority of income is coming from Starlink, from people buying Starlink. And even then, dude, if say you're right, say SpaceX loses half of its income, it's widely basically thought of that SpaceX's income is at about $25 billion, $25 billion, somewhere in there. Okay, you halved it. Oh no, you only have $12 billion. That's enough to fund this program every year by a long shot, dude. There's no way. I'm sorry, man. Like, you can't look at the hardware, dude. And Falcon 9 is just going to be plugging away, doing its thing the entire time. Government and private agencies are moving away from SpaceX. I don't think they are, dude. I don't think the US government can afford to do something like that. I really don't think so. They pull SpaceX's contracts for Dragon, they have no right into space. You can get evaluations, see Kraken, and you can extrapolate income from that. Elon did it himself. Like, yeah, I know Apocalypsis. I'm kind of done, dude. The guy hasn't really given me. I just wanted to, like if I see somebody with a dissenting opinion, I like to explore and I like to ask questions. I like to ask questions just to see what they're on about.
Discovery,
maybe like a test, for instance, like asking about different things and this and that. We'll call it a cross-examination. Yeah, I'm done. I'm good. I'm good. I just wanted to see. Maybe somebody knows something that I haven't taken into account. Now, did I get a little fired up there for a second? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. But look, Ship 37's almost lowered. Yeah, LeChuck, that was my question, dude. But once again, it very much it very much seems like Floor needs a little bit of a reality check. It's okay. It's okay. He'll get it or he won't. I've heard enough, dudes. I'm good. Let's watch ship 37. Looks like they have some. There's a mechanism in the chopsticks that got Starship to kind of sit upright. So it looks like they're gonna drop this down. So once again, this is ship 37, and that is ship 37 is on top of a modified transport stool, and the top of the transport stool hooks to a Starship, and the bottom of the transport stool hooks to the pad, hooks to the super heavy hold down points, which is kind of crazy to me. They very much just hot rodded this pad to continue with the ship 37 and possibly ship 38 testing campaigns so they can go back to doing operational flights, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's right, Redbeard. They did say that. Ad roll? No, I'm good. They're lowering the ship onto the pad and you guys want to roll ads. You spent all your hard-earned points. Refund it then. I didn't roll D20. Why are you telling me to roll? Why are you telling me when I didn't roll D20? That's weird. This thing gonna fly soon? Really depends on how good the next test goes, Miss McGillicuddy. That's the thing. That's what I was trying to explain. You're not.
Go and throttle up.
We don't know when Flight 10 is gonna happen. We have no idea. It depends on how good this thing goes. Because Flight 10 certainly isn't going to fly if this thing can't fire its 6 engines continuously. If it can't do that, then what's the point? Why even try? Right? It's about Long March 5. That's right. Sputnik! Thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate the Prime sub. Do you think rebuilding Massey's would have been a better choice than doing something risky like this? It's turbo. So Aaron, if this is on me, this is on my, so no. And would EJ a month ago have said that? No, I wouldn't have. I would have said that this is not a good idea. And then I started thinking about it because I know people asked me, you know, after ship 36 happened and Massey's exploded, they asked me, they said, "Oh, EJ, do you think they could like put a milk stool on there and, you know, put one on the pad and launch it?" And I said, "Nah, I don't think so. That's really unlikely. That's really unlikely." And here was my major screw up with the whole Massey's analysis that I did. My major screw up was that I predicated my entire like kind of hypothesis about how they'd fix Massey's, etc., of them rebuilding Massey's for Block 2 ships. In my mind, what I thought they were going to do is rebuild Massey's for the Block 2 ships, rebuild it again, build it real quick, test the 2 ships, and then send it, and then, you know, you're good to go, right? Then you're back on track. What I didn't take into account is, and really this is where my analysis completely screwed up. I didn't take into account that Block 3 is coming down the pipe. And that is a major screw up on my part. Sorry, I always do that. I always screw up some mundane detail. So, what was the thing that I messed up? Well, it makes way more sense if you retool Massey's for Block 3 ships. Right? It makes way more sense. Retool Massey's for Block 3 ships, and then retool this pad to do a static fire test. It makes perfect sense. Now, Aaron, why? Why does that make perfect sense? What's the risk? Well, if this thing pops on the pad, then you got a big problem, don't you? Or do you? How many people think you do? How many people think you don't? I don't think you have that big of an issue. You don't have that big of an issue at all. If it blows up, so what? You're taking this pad apart by the end of the year anyway, right? We were just talking about that. If it blows up here, so what? You have another launch pad that's designed for block 3s. Would it be bad? Would you have some downtime? Well, yeah, absolutely. Sure, absolutely you would have some downtime, right? Until you get block 3 up and running. But, okay, you don't do the next 2 test flights and then you go right to block 3. So what? Something you were going to do anyway, right? You have another pad sitting over there. And the boosters and the ships to work on that pad are going to be done sooner rather than later. So SpaceX made a pretty cash money move. They basically relegated this pad for doing all their the remaining block 2 testing, right? Ships, the 2 ships and the 2 boosters, right? That they have left over for flight 10 and flight 11. So ship 37, ship 38, and whatever boosters they choose to go with those things. If anything happens to this pad in that time, whatever, you're going to get rid of it anyway. Doesn't matter. Pad B is going to be ready to go, or that pad over there, not this one. That one that's that screen left. That's going to be done in another month or so. And then you have an operational pad again. Yeah, it's for block 3, but it's still operational. So where I basically screwed up with my Massey's analysis is that I didn't think they would retool Massey's for block 3. I thought they would have retooled it for block 2 and finished up the, get ship 37 and ship 38 flying, right? And not risk their orbital pad. But if the other pad is ready to go and block 3 is going to be ready to go probably by the end of the year based off of what we've seen in the production house, right? In Star Factory, last actually just peering through the windows, right? There's minimal risk here. If it blows up, so what? You'd be dismantling this pad soon anyway. Who cares? The other pad's almost operational. You're good to go. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean SpaceX is just going to send it on this thing. And if it blows up, I'm pretty sure they don't want to lose another ship, at least in a ground testing campaign. That's for sure. So it's not that they aren't trying to, they're not just going, send it with pad A. It's that there's pretty minimal risk here if you lose the pad. You're going to be switching to block 3 by the end of the year anyway. Guys, 4 to 5 months in spaceflight time is nothing. That might as well be in an hour, right? You got to remember, spaceflight works on a different scale than what we're used to. I would guess 33 Raptors are more powerful than a ship explosion, right? It depends on what part of the ship pops if you really want to know, Ordon. But yeah, does that make sense, Aaron? And that's where I screwed up. However, ship 37 was tested at Massey's over the weekend. So I was kind of right, dude. I was kind of right. Testing did resume at Massey's in about a month. It's just not in the way that I said, but it did resume. I was technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. I mean, ship 38, not 37. No, you're right. But technically correct. I used the wrong formula, but got the right answer, okay? Pad's much more shielded. Yeah, there you go, Aqualux. That's right. There's much less risk here. And that's, once again, that's where my analysis screwed up completely. My entire kind of hypothesis was based off of them retooling Massey's for block 2 ships. I didn't think they would be ready to switch to 3, but somebody made the conscious decision at SpaceX to say retool Massey's for block 3 testing. We'll basically jerry rig the pad and build a transport stand here and then go. How did they do that? They did cryo testing, toothless, not engine testing. Massey's has 3 test stands. You have ship cryo testing, booster cryo testing, and then ship static fire testing. The booster static fire testing is that thing right there. Smart, right? Smart. So the ship engine testing part of the test site got deleted. Let's
Discovery.
say
Go and throttle
deleted,
up.
dude, and we'll call it. Yeah, we'll say it got deleted and we'll call it a day. But the cryo test stands just needed to be checked out, ready to go. Ship 38 did cryo testing, baby. Testing resumed at Massey's a month later. I wasn't wrong, but I used the very, very wrong formula, but got the right answer. Your voice breaking. My voice is starting to go, Graham, for some reason. I don't know why. As long as I keep the cough drops going, we're good. I really hope I'm not getting sick, man. That would really suck. Ew, you just called me Perdongagram. Dongagram. I'm calling you that from now on. Perdongagram. Mr. Graham, well done. Mr. Graham, well done. Like steak? Yeah, I made it weirder. That's called doubling down. Do we have a timeline on lighting this candle? Avgas, that's gonna take that's gonna take some time. Dude, so what? This is kind of funny. So the ship quick disconnect is up there because the ship would be up here, right? Because there would be a booster down here. And that ship quick disconnect is just that, a quick disconnect, right? SpaceX, if we zoom back in the VOD a little ways, oh, we can't go that far back. Let's go to this picture. If you look, it's kind of hard to tell, but if you look right there, they installed the disconnect, the carrier umbilical assembly. They installed it. It's not a quick disconnect, it's just a disconnect. So if you look, this thing doesn't have the locator for the ship quick disconnect. The ship quick disconnect arm has the carrier umbilical plate, which is the flange plate that bolts up to the vehicle. It's actually on hydraulics, so they can locate the dang thing, right? So you can locate it, and it can automatically find the ship quick disconnect after stacking, right? Now, the hot-rodded launch pad doesn't have that. So they don't have a ship quick disconnect. They just have a ship disconnect. There's no quick part about this, right? And therein lies your timeline. Because there's no quick disconnect, right? It's just a connect. It's just a disconnect. So you could see it right there. The carrier umbilical plate is there. And you could see the pipelines coming from it, and you could see the pipelines going up here. It's going to take a day or two to hook this all up. This is just a disconnect. This is more like an SLS umbilical. It's just a disconnect. It's not a quick disconnect. It's just a disconnect. So you see that if you saw the two flanges that are popping out the side on that picture, dude, one's for methane and one's for liquid oxygen. And they're going to send they're obviously not, they're not going to be full, but they're going to send some dudes up there, and some dudes are just going to tighten down the line. Basically how SLS installs its umbilicals, inside of the VAB, right? They do the same thing. They just have some dudes, the umbilical turns into position, they move the umbilical into place, and they torque that son of a gun down. It's not a quick disconnect, it's just a disconnect. So we've been looking at road closures. What is it, chat? Wednesday and Thursday, right? Wednesday, Thursday. No, RJ, I didn't. Disconnect! A concern Ryan Weber has for the static fire isn't force or number of Raptors, but how the RVAC plume interacts with the water deluge plate. I'd be curious to ask Ryan what he means by that, dude. Erudite, it's designed to have 33 shoot into it. 6 is not going to make a big deal. That's not, what? Dude, it can take 33. And I get it, the vacuum Raptors have a different expansion ratio, but that's, he said the RVAC spread out too much for the plate. You're at sea level. You don't get plume expansion at sea level. Guys? Hello? That's not how. Once again, I'm not trying to talk bad about Ryan. I'm trying to get, I mean, I know he knows what he's talking about. I'm just trying to understand what he means by that. The plume on the vacuum Raptors is going to come out straight with slight under expansion on the nozzle, right? But the plume will mostly be a column. That's what I'm trying to say. It'll mostly be a column. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but the deluge plate shoots out at 45 degrees. It's like a shower head that shoots out 45 degrees in all directions, right? And if that's the case, if the flume's coming out a relative column and your deluge is going out at 45 degrees in every direction, I really don't think that's going to be an issue. Also, when do you think Flight 10 will occur? Sometime in August, Trey. Oh. And also, Zay had a 41-month resub. Thank you very much. Hang on. They didn't do any O's over there. Kind of curious what they were pointing out with that, but Friday is sometime in August. Pearly, I would say this third week of August at this point, dude. The clampdown pins. Got it. SpaceX said something about a catch on Flight 10 over the Beyond. I'm not sure, dude. The plate has concentrations of holes where each Raptor plume meets it. Yeah, James, I mean, it's an interesting thing to bring that up because of the differential engine configuration, but at the end of the day, I think if it could take 33 Raptors, I don't think it'll have a problem with 6. I don't think the plume geometry would change that, dude. In my honest opinion, I really don't think so. Will they do a tanking test or just send it to static fire? Bodojo, ship 37 has already been cryo tested. So, I mean, I think they will do a tanking test, dude. Tanking test. Yeah, they'll probably be very incremental with this and follow basically the test stand by the book. Their testing procedures by the book because you're on a different test stand. Different test stand could potentially give you different results. So, it would make fault tree analysis on the test stand if something goes wrong a lot easier if you're using the exact same robust testing regime. So I do think we'll see cryo testing of the ship. Tanking, everything. They're going to make sure that that's all working to ensure that their modified test stand is working, right? They'll make sure that that's all good to go, right? And then they'll make sure that the ship is good to go, and then they'll fire the engines. Maybe even do a pre-burner start just to be absolutely sure, and then fire all the engines. Hey, new aerostat. When did that happen? Cool. With the new setup, would you expect a lot of holds and aborts with the first tanking test? It's possible, Erudite, yeah. Yeah, kind of, Ator. Yeah, that's a good point. It's like Blue Origin with New Glenn. Their pad can test first stages and second stages with the right adapters and equipment, which I think is funny. Now, I can't, Iger. No, Twitch gets mad when you do that. Twitch doesn't like it if you have two chats going on the screen. And I know what people are going to say. Well, this streamer does it. Well, it's technically against the rules. And I know good and well that if I'm the one that, you know, I'm going to do it, and every 1,000 other people are going to do it, and then if I do it, I'm going to be the one that gets the shaft. It always happens like that. You know, I'm not really 100% sure what's going to get you axed on Twitch nowadays. So I just adhere to the terms of service as best as I can. I'm not going to risk my livelihood over some chat visibility, dude. You know? With that being said, I'm pretty sure we could get away with it. A lot of streamers get away with it, but I don't trust it, man. I don't want to screw around when it comes to my income. Or primary source of income, let me say that. You see we have two SLS rockets going in the VAB now. Goalie, having the bow tail of the Artemis 3 MPS is not having two rockets in the VAB. Okay. That's having one completed rocket and then a piece of another one. Speaking of Blue Origin and G2, second stage static fired in April, so the long lead is the booster, it seems. Erudite, that is part of the reason why I think Blue Origin was entirely expecting to get that first stage back. I think it really screwed them up not getting that the GS1 back. I think it really screwed them up. Multi-platform streaming is allowed. Multi-chat is not, Pinojo, which is really annoying, but what are you going to do? Do you think they will leave 37 at the launch pad and just bring out Booster 16 for a launch? The booster's already been tested. Yep, Wendy. Okay, based off of the information provided, this is a very speculative guess on my part. Okay, so here's my guess. I think they're going to test 37, make sure 37 is good to go. And then I think they're going to test 38 right after that. I think they're going to move through the testing regimes on 37 and 38 as quickly as possible. Why? So why do one ship testing and then another ship testing? Why not do ship testing, flight testing, ship testing, flight testing, right? Why do that? Well, you're risking the pad. You're risking the pad. And what do I mean by risking the pad? I thought you said it was low risk. It is low risk. What about all that stuff that's sitting on the top of the booster quick disconnect to make the ship attachment points? You think that's surviving a super heavy launch? Probably not. It seems like very much they told some fabricators with some extra tube stock to go up there and make mounts for the pipes. Nothing is blast shielded up there on the disconnect. Right? See all this? It's just a tube stock lattice that the dude's just welded with that's holding some pipes in place. See what I'm talking about? I don't think that'll survive a super heavy launch. I really don't. I think, Wendy, they're going to get all the ship testing done, and then they're going to take the mount off, cut all this crap off of there, and then go for the 2 flights real quick, and then decommission the pad. Because, once again, you launch a super heavy with this thing right there, it will get destroyed. You know, I know what people are going to say. What do you mean? It's solid metal. It's good. It's fine. No, there's a reason why there's a huge hood right here to hold the umbilicals, right? You guys got to remember what happens right in this area here is think nuclear blast going off, because that's basically what it is. Think like if there was a Fat Man bomb right in the center of the pad and it went off. That is the amount of energy discharge we're talking here when a super heavy lights its engines. Anything that's not shielded here, you're going to lose. You're going to lose very quickly. So, I mean, Wendy, that's a good question. I think they're going to do ship 37 or ship 37 testing. I think they're going to take this thing off. I don't think it's any secret that they're testing ship 38 right now. It's cryo tested at Massey's. I think they're going to test both the ships and then get the fabrication team up here, grind all this crap off, revert the pad to just the orbital flight pad, and then do the 2 flights. in quick succession, and then switch to Block 3 by the end of the summer. I'm wondering if the booster hood could even open with the ship piping in place. Yeah, Andrew, that's another thing I was curious about. I mean, I didn't think of it just now. I thought of it the other day, but yeah, that's a good point. It's already set up. Why change it? There you go. Reconfiguring the pad like that carries risk. They'll probably change the processing flow around for the remaining Block 2 ships to get to put their testing regimes close to each other. Fatman would be like if they had 7 full stacks explode simultaneously. Yeah, I know, Wartaz, I get it. I was really hoping nobody would do the math for me, but since you have, that was a little bit of hyperbole on my part. The reason why is because I think it is I don't think people understand the amount of energy going out here. And if I just say, oh, it's carrying like 45 megajoules a second or something of energy, they'll be like, just for all intents and purposes, just pretend like a nuke is going off inside of the orbital pad. That's the amount of protection that you need. I wasn't expecting someone to call me on it. I don't know why I didn't think people wouldn't do that, but I would hope that people would get the hyperbole, but apparently not. I'll be more technical next time. Hey, Brendan, what's going on? Do you think this will be the first launch of Pad B due to the new stand? Pad B launches are a little ways out, Brendan. Why did it screw up Blue not getting the new Glenn first stage back? It was a test, right? Aaron, I think they said it was a test, but I very much think that they really wanted that back for reuse. That was a fully kitted out first stage with all the landing gear, all the paraphernalia, everything that was needed. And I think they predicated their launch cadence on getting their first stage back. They called it a test to kind of run some cover for themselves. I think that's personally my opinion, because they said at the end of the new Glenn stream that we have another new Glenn ready to go. They did their second stage testing like 6 months ago. I don't know when it was. It was a little while ago. Why would you test a second stage that far out from your launch campaign? I think their launch schedule was entirely decided based on them having the expectation of them getting that stage back, and then they didn't. I don't know why you'd do that way, but hey, whatever. Why feed the trolls? Larry, I like feeding trolls. It's my favorite thing to do. I don't do it all the time. I like doing it sometimes. Does that make me a bad person? Yeah, maybe. I do like feeding the trolls. I like giving them the rope, dude. You know what I mean? It is fun. Drone. We're gonna see. It's gonna pan down to like Jack waving, isn't it? Or tilting down. Oh, that's Gage's truck. Never mind. But yeah, sometimes I do feed trolls and it's fun. It's fun for me. So this is the north side of the Starship pad, dude. It does feel good sometimes, man. But I usually don't. I don't know what you're talking about, Tessa. I come from the Counter-Strike world, dude. Where everyone's a troll all the time. I know we're watching Starship, but what are your thoughts and opinions about New Glenn? I like New Glenn, Darth. Darth and Ton says, I like it. Somebody gifted Floor Master a sub. Nice, nice. How's Kerbal earlier? I think I got the thing working, Manfu. Yeah, I think we got it. Yeah, Darth, I don't mind New Glenn. I like New Glenn. I think it's a great rocket. Really, I mean, you know, partial reuse, 7-meter core, 7-meter fairing, 40-ton to Leo. It's a great rocket. I think Blue is having trouble scaling. I think they are... perhaps a little bit overconfident. But that's the thing. Engineering has a very, 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 very good way, nice way, and physics have a very nice way of humbling you. Did you figure out the fairing editing? I think we were chasing the wrong problem, RJ. And I'm not ashamed to say that I may have been wrong. My judgment is off. I'm a little rusty. I haven't played Kerbal in a little while. Have you seen how small the Escapade satellites look inside of the fairing? Yeah. It's just this little tiny thing inside of that 7-meter fairing. That's the biggest fairing flying, Darth. It's pretty good, man. Personally, I think NASA should leverage the... Hey, Doss, what's going on? I think NASA should leverage that 7-meter fairing, to be 100% honest with you. Did I see Dave Limp's Twitter post? Yeah, I have. Yes. I haven't really gone into the nitty-gritty, but I had it teed up for a Space News link to share. Give me 1 second, dude. Checking into something. Cool. This just looks so wrong. You know, fellas, I started thinking about this whole thing, right? And what I was getting at is, I know people are going to call me a nut bar for this. Why have Massies at all? It's like, consider this a contrarian opinion, okay? Just some conditional hypothetical here. Why have Massies at all if you could just do that the whole time? It's like, yep, you can leave at any time. I think that the reason why they're doing that is because the reason why they've had a separate site is because they're the reason why they have a separate site is because they weren't sure. They were retiring the risk, right? But you got to remember, like, SpaceX has done they've done booster static fires on the pad, and they were willing to risk it for that. You know, why not a ship, right? So I think in the future, when more pads are active, right? When more of these are made, right? I don't think there's any need for Massies. You don't have to shut down the roads and the beach. Also, for Massies, yeah, sure. Parallel processing. If you have multiple pads entropy, what does that change? So say in the future, you have two of that pad, not this one, that pad over there. Say you have two of those. Say this pad gets retooled. You can still do your parallel processing. You have a modified adapter for the ship, right? and you're good to go. You did say it wouldn't survive a booster launch. Yeah, but that's with the Block 2. Pearly, how do we know that they're not putting in provisions to do this with the new pad? Would anybody even be able to tell if that was the case? Didn't they say they want to launch every hour or something? When do you test? Well, that's, yeah, Mutter, that's kind of what I'm getting at. At the side of Pad B, there's a testing static fire in construction. Really, Mario? Can you get me a picture of that, dude? Like, point me in the right direction where that's a thing. Just, I believe you. I want to see it. I agree, David. It's good stuff. Massey's is far enough from Highway 4 so they don't need to close the road as often, for sure. But if you have two pads, you just have one modified for the ship and one ready to go for the booster. Seems like SpaceX made some backward steps with Block 2. I don't think they made backward steps, Darth. I think the mitigations are very telling. SpaceX doesn't mitigate stuff when they fix the things. But, Darth, and once again, this goes to just the general kind of misnomer that I think people carry with the Starship program. People treat Starship like it's the Apollo program, or like SLS, so if you see a failure, you're screwed. No. The ship is just not tested this way. And don't get me wrong, that isn't some guys to cover for the fact that, that isn't some excuse to cover the fact for the failures. Block 2 has definitely had some bumps in the road, for sure. And exploding and showering the Caribbean with debris is not a good look, for sure, absolutely. But also at the same time, Darth, I think very much that they by the time Block 2 first flew on Flight 7, there were some pretty glaring problems that they already knew needed to be addressed. And I think they moved those versions, they moved all the fixes for those down the pipe to Block 3. The reason why I think that engineering decision was made is because you do not want to stop production at Star Factory. You don't want to stop. If the mitigations, if they're mitigating problems for Block 2 and Block 3 has the fixes, well, that would mean that Raptor 3 is part of them fixing problems, right? And Raptor 3s aren't available right now. So what do? Do you idle your production facility for a year, waiting for Block 3? No, absolutely not. Look, man, part of Starship's systems engineering is to be able to be mass produced. That is part of the engineering. That is the factory is as much a component of the craft as those damn winglings are, or the engines, right? So if that's the case, you would not want to idle your assembly line. That's why SpaceX was rolling out mitigations. I mean, keep in mind, this is just my opinion. I could be wrong. Totally fair. That's why I think SpaceX sent Block 2 with some, weird mitigations like nitrogen purging in the attic to prevent leaks. It's not that they couldn't fix the problem. It's that the fix was already implemented. But because the fix has a lot to do with Raptor 3, and Raptor 3 got delayed a little bit, no doubt, because propulsion is always the hardest thing to make. And Raptor 3, just because it was simple, it looks simple, doesn't mean it was simple to engineer, right? So if the changes were delayed, you don't want to idle your line. If the rollout of Raptor 3 was delayed, you're not going to want to idle your line. You idle your line, then you start pissing away money. So what do? Make some mitigations, fly the thing. If it blows up, it blows up. Everybody thinks that all these Block 2 things are, oh, what a failure, what a failure, what a failure. They're overlooking the fact that, dude, they caught a booster. They caught boosters just fine, and they reused a booster just fine during the Block 2 kind of testing campaign, right? The first booster catch was with a Block 1 Starship. on flight 5, right? But there's so much data accrued from these test flights, all right? So many changes implemented because of the testing data, because you didn't want to idle your line. You can't take your foot off the gas with the way SpaceX is doing their engineering. You can't do that because, once again, because the ability for your factory is part of the vehicle in this particular design. It's part in this engineering construct that they're using. The factory is part of it. If the factory is not performing nominally, the booster is not, and the rocket ship is not performing nominally. Does that make sense? Hey, Laglander, thanks for the raid. I meant to include the tower itself in my question. Pad 8, redo it. Zach thinks they have no choice but to take down the pad and the tower, Daveldod? Daveldod, Zach's been wrong, but I wouldn't bet against him. If he thinks that it needs to be taken down, well, man, is that gonna suck. I think that SpaceX will modify the tower and maybe redo the pad. Okay. Am I familiar with the subsystems and everything that goes to make that thing? No, I am not. What I am familiar with is historical precedent here. Okay? So check this out. Take a look. So once upon a time, SpaceX had pad 40. Just pad 40, right? And they had a TE just for pad 40. That, right? One transporter erector, right? And then they had 39A, right? 39A transporter erector. Okay, they had the frame there. They modified the frame so you could make it into Falcon Heavy as well. And then the pad 40 TE exploded. And they had to build a new one. And that's the one they're still using today. There it is right there. Now, there's the reaction frame modified for Falcon Heavy with its compression bridges right there. Right? So this is kind of what you're good to go with. Now, let me go a little ways forward here. Look. So, this is the Vandenberg transporter erector. This is the one that's at Slick 4 East, okay? The Vandenberg TE is the oldest piece of launch GSE that SpaceX has. It is 12 years old. It's 12 years old. Oh, God. Actually, even older. They made it in 2012. Okay. Now, remember how I just said that 39A can be reconfigured for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, right? It can go back and forth. Once upon a time, right, this was configured for a Falcon Heavy, but at the time when the Vandenberg pad was made in 2012, Falcon Heavy did not look like what ended up flying in February of 2018 off of 39A. Did not look like that. Nope. Completely different reaction frame design. We know this because, well, you could just look at the damn picture if you want. The picture is a pretty damn good giveaway. That does not look like the 39A TE. So what SpaceX did, okay, in this analogy, so to speak, this is your tower, and that's your OLM. In Falcon 9's design, your transporter erector is your tower. That's what puts the rocket together, right? That's your orbital pad, okay? The reaction frame, okay, needed to be redesigned because it was designed for Falcon Heavy 1.0, not Falcon Heavy Block 5, like the one that flew in 2018. So what SpaceX did, I gotta find these pictures with Jim. Hold on. There it is. So what SpaceX did in 2018 was they modified the reaction frame at Vandenberg. I know because I have the pictures of when they did it. See? They changed the reaction frame. They completely redid it. And they took the old one and they threw it away. They redid it to look like Falcon Heavy. To not look like Falcon Heavy. They redid it to look like 39A. That's 39. That's a copy of the one at 39A. This frame. Okay? See, that's the one at 39. There's the frame. It's not an exact replica, but they took the old one and they threw it away. They scrapped it. I know this for a fact because if you zoom in at Vandenberg, right, and you start scrubbing through the timeline, they literally just put it right next to the pad. They just put it on the side of the road. Right, there's the Vandenberg TE. But that transporter erector is the original TE designed for like the original Falcon Heavy back in the day. Well, Falcon Heavy 1.1, if we really want to be technical, okay? You go here and you go back scrubbing through the timelines, right, on Google Earth, right? You could see when SpaceX started to modify it from a Titan pad to a Falcon pad. Look, 2016. There's the reaction frame, the old one. They literally just took it and threw it away. And they modified it and put a new one on there. See, the new one is a different shape. You could see it right there. They did it in 2016, 2017, and in 2018, they had it good to go. Those are when those pictures that I just showed you were taken. See? There's the new one. They literally took the old frame and threw it over here and built another one and put it on there. See what I mean? So, what's the historical precedent here? The historical precedent is that SpaceX won't modify the pad, that they won't modify the transporter erector, or in this particular case of Starship, they won't modify the tower. They won't bring it down unless they absolutely 100% can't do the modifications. I'd say they'll go and demolish all this and build another OLM like that pad over here, not this pad, that pad. And they'll try to do the tower modifications as best as they can. But historically speaking, they'll make the minimal amount of modifications to make it work with Block 3. Have I been wrong about this in the past? Yes, absolutely. It's hard to predict Starship. It's hard. It's difficult. The reason why is because there's no precedent here. I'm only pulling from what SpaceX has done in the past. That's my knowledge base. That's my data set that I've been able to give explanations on. But you never know with Starship, man. Zach might be right. It's possible. Problem with keeping the tower at pad 1 is that it's sinking and has caused them many stacking issues, though it seems like a year ago they modified the sticks. It looks like they modified it with an adjustment mechanism. If the tower is seeping, if this thing is seeping into the ground and it's moving, if it's sinking into the swamp, get rid of it. It's just going to be something that you're just going to have to freaking deal with every time you go to stack this stupid thing. If that's the case, get rid of it. Okay. Tell that to the landlords in Back Bay. Are the current towers ready for cruise when the time comes? Logan, I think we are still multiple years away from anybody ever getting near this thing when it goes to launch. When do you think we'll see the first Falcon Heavy from Slick 4? I thought Falcon Heavy capacity was part of NSSL Phase 2. Probably not going to happen, Deadbringer, even though they have the capability of doing it. It's probably not going to happen because SpaceX has the lease on Slick 6, and I know they want to take Slick 6 and modify it for Falcon Heavy. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that the Slick 6 modification timeline is probably centered around the needs for a Falcon Heavy from the West Coast. The abrasion on the palm of your left hand indicates a Type 1 sustained fall from 3 to 5 feet. The key piece of plaster on your shoe, a careless mason being the culprit. If you had the opportunity to, would you ever go to space? Yes. Are they going to static fire tonight? Excessive, it's probably going to be on Wednesday, dude. That's what you slipped in. That's what was on your shoe, and that explains the abrasion on your palm! Do you think they'll have to add tower sections? Maybe. Where do you get these images? That's a pretty large archive. I just collect them over the years, dude. Yeah, Grog, and that goes back to what I keep saying, dude. You're saying, in fairness, SpaceX would often be wrong trying to predict everything that they are going to do next. It's by design. Bingo. That's it. Every test is predicated off of the last one. Your testing criteria changes every single time. What caused Flight 7 to explode didn't cause Flight 8 to explode. What caused Flight 8 to explode Flight 9 didn't have the same failure. They're all failing in different spots. Your testing criteria changes. It's on a test by testing basis, which makes Starship insanely difficult to predict deadlines. You're right, even by SpaceX's own standards, they're like, yeah, we're going to fly in 3 weeks. Oh, I mean 4, right? They don't even know. It really depends on how quickly you can go. And that, you don't know where your upper limits are in this type of testing until you try it, right? That's what makes this so damn cool. Guys, you're watching this unfold before our eyes is a treat, man. And I'm happy that, it's ridiculous to me that I even have the privilege of being able to explain this to you guys. This is wild, man. This is wild. You're actually seeing the birth of a new, like a paradigm shift in how spaceflight is conducted. It's unbelievable. Just sit back and enjoy it, man. We're watching them on a FAFO loop for fun. That is a way to put that, man, for sure. Oh, geez, Phil. Oh, no.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yeah, that tower might be shifting. The point load. Look at the point load distribution here. So what does that mean? Point load is a structural engineering thing. It basically means how much force is pushing down on each one of these things. You have obviously your full mass of your tower, right? So the point load for the first tower is way higher than the new tower, right? Why? Why would they change it if that one wasn't causing problems, right? I think Zach might be right. Right? They did something, they saw if it worked, and that is too high of a point load, meaning there's too much pushing down on each one of those pillars right there. There's way too much, and too much of it pushing down is causing it to sink, right? Now, if you take your point load and you spread it out you take your point load and you make it go down, right? By adding more pilings like this, right? You can distribute the load over even a similar surface area and a similar footprint. You distribute the load even better here. So the load on each one of these smaller columns is nowhere near what it is on the bigger column here. In fact, it would be interesting to see what the point load differential is here. Like, how many posts do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You got 20. Okay. That tower's like got to be at least 6,000 tons. That's a conservative estimate. I have no idea. So let me count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Is it 19 or is it 20? There's 10 right there, 16 right there. It's 19. Okay. How much is this one? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is 144, and then you have to minus, so 143, 142, 41, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, 32. So it's 132 pilings as opposed to 19. This is carrying a much lighter point load per piling than that one. Once again, there's a reason why they did this. There's a very good reason why they did this. Because that one sucks. Because that one sucks. Yeah. Frick around, find out. Right? Like that's, there you go. This picture's coming from RGV Aerial Photography. RGV is amazing. Go give them a follow. You get awesome pictures like that. Is the tower leaning? Bro, Handy, I'm inclined to say that it might not be leaning, but it is shifting. If SpaceX is going to switch from 19 to 132 pilings, yeah, I'd say that's a pretty big miscalculation. But then again, you know, we can sit here, and this is what I mean about being like, oh, being a doubter, guys. You can sit here and you can say, yeah, wow, what a stupid idea Pad 1 was. What a stupid idea. That was so dumb. How did they get it that wrong? Dude. Oh yeah, when they first went to make the first tower, let's just consult our handbook on integration towers that stack vehicles. We could just go check the book, go down to the library and check that book out, right? No, you don't know. You don't know. This is why I think you got to be careful about judging SpaceX too quickly. Because what looks like crazy incompetence is really, it's not. It really isn't. Now, don't get me wrong. There is things here and there, right, where you're like, that was dumb. Why'd you do that? Right? But for everything that seems like it's a stupid thing, it's really just, guys, they're in uncharted territory here. No one's ever tried to make a tower do that. No one's ever tried to make an integration tower catch boosters and simultaneously catch boosters and fuel the vehicle up and then maybe catch ships someday. No one's ever done anything like that. How the hell do they know what that's supposed to do? You got to try something. You got to do something. And their analysis was clearly good enough because they did catch something, but it did offer some places for improvement. You're not going to know. You are not going to know that Tower 1 is not going to sink into the swamp until you try something. So at some point, you just got to try it. You got to build the stupid thing, and whatever happens, happens. No library card? Oh, yeah. Please see last or something. I don't know. Please see last or something. I don't know. You have to tag me, dude. Wartos, tag me or I won't. I just assume you're not talking to me, man. I'm sorry. You have my undivided attention. What's up? Andrew, that's true, yeah. So, do they drop the tower or do they mitigate it? I'm not sure how you mitigate point load on something like that without taking it down, Trey. Are there any structural engineers watching or architects that could tell me, like, could you add cribbing or something? Will that help? Like, I don't even think that'll work with the load. That tower, guys, each one of the 4 posts, guys, has concrete in it. That tower weighs as much as like 50,000 like Abrams tanks or something. Wartos, you actually you told me to see last off of a retracted message. You say you're inclined to believe it's moving. Oh, damn. Can it be just that the ground is very different? Between there and there? I doubt it. You do things like stabilize the soil. Think soil nails. Okay. You could underpin it. Would depend on how far it's shifted or if it's beyond recovery. Now, see, here's the thing. Okay, so here's what SpaceX, and this is why this is hard to predict. Here's what SpaceX has to weigh. So there are ways to fix it from what you guys are telling me. I mean, if it was me, I'd freeze the ground and start injecting concrete everywhere. Start putting concrete slurry in as much as you can. But that's probably not, I don't know if that'll fix anything. I'm pretty sure that'll piss off somebody somewhere. Now, you guys got to tell me, like, not you guys got to tell me. Let's think about it for a second, all right? Is the cost of mitigating and trying to fix that tower worth it? It obviously has a bunch of, it has stuff on it that's not useful anymore, right? The chopsticks are too long, right? I mean, maybe keep them. I mean, if it was me, I'd just take the chopsticks off, cut them, and then put them back on a new tower if you were going to do that, right? Now, here's the thing. You want to do that? Okay, that's crane time. You got to get the crane. Got to get the crane to pull those things off. You got to undo all their connections. You got to cut all that out. You got to cut the SQD out. There's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done to get the tower to come down, like to get off the tower. You got to take the thing, you got to take that whole thing apart, and then you got to blow it up, right? Is that worth the time? Is it worth your time? Blowing up that tower and starting that pad from scratch, the pad's going to be down for at least a year, at the very least. Maybe more because of debris cleanup, right? Is it worth it? Now, you could try to mitigate it too. Is that worth it? You could try to mitigate it. What if it just keeps getting worse? What if the foundation improvements are done in the expectation of launching much larger vehicles to space? It's possible. They also did minimal to zero dewatering before building Tower 1, but they used wick drains before building Tower 2. Yeah. Flight 1 majorly messed up the foundation as well. Probably weren't able to repair it all the way back to where it was. Yeah, maybe. I think we're talking about the tower, Kate, but yeah. Yeah, possibly. Think they'll keep the chopsticks? Yeah, it's possible. Oh my gosh, the original message didn't send, but YouTube showed it to me as if it did. Oh, it's all good, man. What do you want to talk about, dude? I'm sorry I missed it. That's my fault, dude. It retracted it. I didn't see it. Talk to me, Goose. Wait till there's a third tower to refurbish the first. They're working on the other tower at the Cape. Yes, that's how I call the pads. This pad is pad A. That pad is pad B. That other pad is the one at the Cape, the one in Florida. The other pad. This pad, that pad, and the other pad. Is an Operation Plowshare event to clear the pads out of the question? I think so. I don't think they want people like taking this stuff apart, dude. No, I know, tower as well. I believe you, Kate. Yeah, sure. Sure. But once again, guys, you know, for all the follies that thing has had, look at how much they've learned. You can be damn sure the next one will be fine. Because, like, once again, you could do all the analysis in the world at the end of the day for calculating what a rocket that makes 15 million pounds of thrust, right? That has a freaking first stage that weighs 300 tons dry, and a ship that's easily pushing 100 tons on top of that on wet soil in the Rio Grande estuary where no one has ever launched a rocket before. You could say, oh, well, why didn't they just do the analysis? Why did you, dude? There is no analysis. Like, your analysis is only going to be so good. There's so many unknown unknowns there that SpaceX is mitigated by just building it. I say the end of the year for 39A, Kate, depending on from what I've seen, from what those pictures that Harry Stranger posted the other day, a 39A. Oh my goodness, they're moving fast. They're building that pad probably, I wouldn't say twice as fast as that pad, but the other pad is getting built much faster than that pad over there. I don't think there's going to be a test today. No. Kiki, Wednesday, I think. Time to go. Was I a good pad? No, you were the best pad. Oh, Wartos, it's still deleting them, dude. That's not me doing that, man. I tell you what, dude, shoot me a DM in Discord or something. Now I want pad Thai. No, you want pad B. It's over there. I mean, maybe there'll be starship pads in Thailand someday. Is using a bad term? I don't know, Aqualex. YouTube is retracting the message before I can even see it. Like, it's typing it, he's showing it there for a second, and then it zaps. I don't think I even have Nightbot on the YouTube chat, David, to be honest with you. Alejandro Alcantarilla Romera. This is cool. Okay. Noctilox, are you talking about that thing from Dave Limp? Yeah, we were talking about Nuglins a second ago, guys. Remember, this isn't just a Starship review. This is everything. So Dave Limp says this. We're back at it with the forward module testing, gearing up for New Glenn's second flight. Part of this testing campaign is to activate the hydrogen peroxide system that fuels our reaction control system, or RCS. Glenn Stage 1 reaction control systems provides 20,000 pounds of thrust in any direction, allowing the first stage to reorient itself in space before re-entry and to precisely target Jacqueline in high winds during landing. To give you an idea, a single F-18 Super Hornet F414 engine produces a similar amount of thrust at 22,000 pounds. So you can see how powerful this system is. The RCS performed nominally during our NG-1 flight and successfully reoriented GS-1 to within 0.5 degrees of our target altitude during exo-atmospheric flight. All right, what do we got? That's... Oh, bruh, look at that. Damn. Crazy, dude. Yo, who was in here talking to me about Nuglins a second ago? That's awesome, dude. It looks like they're doing a landing simulation here, guys. You see how that thing is like, it's really doing its thing? It's like in Kerbal, if you have the SAS on and you're trying to get to a point, right? It's like wiggling around. I'm guessing they're doing a landing simulation and they're tweaking the PID on their control systems there. Look at that thing. Dude. That's cool, man. We better have more onboard cams. I really hope so. Does that mean Flight 2 GS1 isn't integrated yet? Who knows? I don't know when this footage was posted. Scratch that. I can tell you when this video is posted. Look, back there. That's the Spock. ULA's Vulcan integration. That's VIF A. Amazon's VIF for Project Kuiper missions. See it back there? Look at its state of construction. This was a couple months ago. You could still see through it, which means they hadn't raised the roof. See how you could see through the sucker right there? Right here. Let me load up Google Earth. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so let's go here, load up the newest images, right? So their test stand is right there. See it? That's the test stand for the stage. See the pipe coming off of it, the commodities line right there? Let's look at Blue's footage and compare. We should have a single commodities line over here. There's the end of the trench. That's the end of the flame trench right there. See it? At LC36. This other view has the commodities line. There it is. See that? They have a small lightning arrestor system on it. Right? Wait a minute. July 26th? This is a different test. This is not the same test, fellas. I am 100% sure of that. It's not the same test. This was earlier in the year. This was 2 days ago. These are two different tests. Not similar. Look. So see over there? So we know that there's the edge of the trench, right? Let's go here. Look. There's that same bit of concrete right there. And looking this way, there's the VAB. And over here, you're looking up at 41. Solid rocket motor assembly facility. It's almost exactly in line with that camera shot, right? Now that building, ULA extended the roof so they could build Vulcan rockets in there, right? The roof wasn't tall enough, so they extended it. You can see it in the first test shot right there. See? But you can see through the roof. You can see through it. Now, let me go over here. Tori Bruno posted last week, and I covered it for Space News, right? He posted last week of an updated shot of the final beam being stacked. And look, you can't see through it right there. They have the paneling up. You wouldn't be able to see through the damn thing. They have most of the paneling up. So, hello. This footage right here is old. That's old footage. So, I wanted to prove this out, not that it makes that big of a difference, but if this shot was from the 26th, that kind of defeats my entire thesis statement, right? About, state of the booster. Is it integrated? What I was trying to say here is that it possibly could, it's possible, but 26th of July. Nah, not even close. Blue's a little ways out, at least a month out from their next New Glenn flight, at the very least. Unless they have two interstages lying around, dude. That also could be that. I say with confidence this time. See last. Okay. Have you played the browser game Mechazilla? Full stop here. I've played this, yeah. Do you know who made the wheels for Curiosity and Perseverance? I'm pretty sure JPL made them, dude. It'd be strange if they didn't have a second booster close to being ready. Do the fins work in pairs, or they can each individual fin work on its own? Individual on its own. For the tower disassembly, they could unbolt the sections and scrap them elsewhere, reversing the assembly. They can't reverse the assembly, Aqualex. The posts of the tower, they poured concrete into. You're not picking that up with a crane. Like the 4 posts of the tower, there's concrete in there. They cast concrete all the way up 525 feet that way, dude. You're not getting rid of that. The only way to do it would be to demo it. Well, the second possibility, they could also do like they demolish buildings. It's short. If that method could be applied to the tower, sure. Maybe. Anyway, let's see what else is going on. I had Creeper send me a bunch of links today. I'm going to start transferring the rest of the links for Space News. We'll do the rest of this now. Transferring links now. This is usually what I do when I'm off stream, but the ship 37 stacking started happening, so I kind of jumped on it. All right, give me one moment. Okay. All right. You know, while we're doing Starship stuff, let's just keep talking about that. And then we have a bunch of stuff after that. All right, here we go. So check this out, dudes. Let's jump back in. Fly booster 15 into it and it'll come down. Okay. So SpaceX, this is coming from our GP aerial. SpaceX has started, this is an aerial shot of them working on the air separation unit. The ASU is what is basically going to pull atmosphere. And they're going to pull atmosphere. And they're going to use it to make liquid nitrogen and liquid oxygen for the pad, so they won't need to have constant stream of LOX trucks in there. If you guys, anybody that's ever been down to Starship in the days coming up to a launch knows good and well that there's a traffic jam of trucks carrying liquid oxygen. And we know they're all carrying liquid oxygen because they have 1073 placards on them, if I'm remembering right. 1073? Yes, 1073, I was right. Cool. If you see a truck with that on the side of it, you know it has liquid oxygen in it. Does that mean no train? That still leaves the fuel question kind of unanswered, dude, but yeah, who knows? The right of way for the train tracks is right there. Or was right there at some point. Here, let's there is a train track right away there. Decent. It was there once upon a time. That's the right of way for the tracks. The tracks came in here and then they followed Highway 4. So they'd go right through the tank farm, so doubt. But yeah, that's the right of way for the railroad tracks. There was a train track that went down here for a steamboat servicing facility at one point during like the Civil War. This is like 150 years ago or something. I mean, Aquelucks, they're going to have to find some kind of creative solution or just blow it up, which I guess one would consider that a creative solution as well. So yeah, they're working on the air separator. They connected it into the roundabout here. Train might make it easier to move a booster to the port. I don't know, man. Wonder what's being graded right there. I mean, where is the closest tracks? I do believe the closest train tracks are right here. That's Port of Brownsville, right? And the tracks go down here. And that's scrappers right there. That's ship scrapping. Not Starship, just like regular ship. And then the tracks end right there. The port that SpaceX uses to move stuff in and out is right here. The heavy dock. Water ships, ew. There's a proposed pipeline that goes down in that direction. Yeah, the pipeline junction is right here. I've seen it, Mutter. The pipe goes all the way down to here. At least there's some infrastructure being built right here that, you know, if you're going down the highway from South Padre this way, going down that highway, there is a huge thing going on right here. And then the oil terminal, the oil and gas terminal's right there. That's over here. See, right there. They've started building some infrastructure for that thing. And then they have, yeah, see, the oil and gas terminal is being built. This is a super old picture. You want a big construction site? That's an insane construction project. More transportation. It'll show the rail lines. I mean, Mutter, I kind of knew that that was the only one. I mean, SpaceX could, theoretically, like, you could have like a heavy train track, like 2 or 3 rails wide, right? That goes this way and kind of follows Highway 4 that goes to Starbase, and you could transport your boosters that way, I suppose. Some of Firefly's programs are going quite well, others not so much. Yeah, that's like Factorio in real life. Look at that damn thing. No, Astra is the company at NAS Alameda. Yeah. Count the cranes. I mean, Kate, was I lying? Look at all the Liebherr 11,000s. There's 30 of them. 30 Liebherr 11,000. SpaceX has 2 at Starbase. 2. There's 30 of them, and that's not even counting the telescoping cranes. Actually, I think RGV probably has that picture. I think I saw it. Yeah. Oh my good gracious. Look at all of the cranes. Look at all of them. They're everywhere. Oh, dude, it's so cool. Look at that. One day I would love to see this type of infrastructure being built for like launch complexes, dude. This is the oil and gas industry, which is... And that's not including the 3 tower cranes that they're using to build the holding tanks down here, see? Dude, that is so hardcore. Look at that oil and gas terminal. That's unbelievable. Look at the stacks of condensers. It looks like someone's playing Factorio up in here. What a beast. Absolute beast mode, dude. Oil and gas, a dying industry. Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's a dying industry, yeah. You feeling all right? Or smell burnt toast? Yeah, there's no money there. It's just, yeah, no, it sucks, huh? This is a dying industry. Oil and gas ain't going nowhere, dude. It ain't going nowhere. If people are gonna say, well, but the oil wells are gonna dry up, bro, you'd be out of your mind if you think that the oil and gas industry wouldn't go and do something nuts like subsidizing a nuclear, like a nuclear reactor to make power to synthesize oil with nuclear fusion or fission or something. Dude, they will find a way to make more. And you'd be out of your mind if you think that they're not thinking about that. Do you think they'd spend billions of dollars building this if they were worried? Hell no. I mean, dude, look, like people are already, tech companies are already investing in nuclear power to generate enough power for AI, all right? You think the oil and gas industry is going to be like, oh no, we're just going to let these wells go dry and screw us, right? Like, it's fine. Once it goes dry, we'll have tons of money already. No problem, right? Hell no, man. They'll figure out ways to make oil, dude. Before they let the gravy train stop, they'll figure out ways to make the stupid stuff. Like, think about it. Before people are going to say, EJ, you need pressure and time and geology. I know how oil is made. I get it. We already make synthetic, dude. We'll make more. will find a way, even if you take into account that the wells might dry out, which I really don't think they will. But, dude, they will figure out a way. They're not letting that gravy train stop, dude. Are you nuts? There's research going to convert CO2 from atmosphere pack into fuel. Yeah, actually, Luizo, I'm conducting those same kind of experiments in my backyard, dude. I'm almost on a breakthrough. See, what I did was I came up with an experiment to take the CO2, the carbon in the atmosphere, and convert it into energy for me, meaning my tomato plants and my peppers and my strawberries and my green beans and my cucumbers. I know, crazy experiment. Yielding fruits of that labor, it's great. Some might call it photosynthesis. Shut up, they're gonna get you. I don't have any schnozberries, no. Did you win the lottery and not share? Fruits of the labor, boo! I've been hanging with Sawyer too much. Oh dear. Yeah, Moo. Yeah, exactly. I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. Sounds like some illegal experiments. I know. Seriously though, grow plants. It's cool, man. It's cool. I had a cucumber with my lunch yesterday that I grew in my backyard. I didn't pay nothing for it. Maybe some water. Maybe it increased my water bill a little bit, but I didn't pay for a damn cucumber. I made that cucumber. I am responsible for that cucumber existing. That's pretty cool. What's on your mind, Trey? Imagine the day SpaceX builds a factory this size for the future rocket, Giga Heavy. Dude, yeah. Very bad at keeping plants alive? Really? Has a puppy tried to get in the garden? No. If anything, Titan keeps the beasts away, Jim. Titan doesn't understand that that's food. He does not. He doesn't get it. But Titan, Jim, I'll be honest with you. You know how some people are like, oh, my dog is vegan. Titan is not a herbivore. Let me put it that way. Dude, that dog ain't no herbivore. let me put it to you like that. He ain't no herbivore. I tried to feed him cucumber. He was like, oh, is that food? What the hell was that? That wasn't food. Human, what is this? You're gonna make me eat that? I don't want this. It's like, oh, all right, man. He's like, wait, that was food. You just put that in your mouth. Let me have some. And I'm like, okay, here, have a cucumber. And he's like, that's not food. You must have eaten something different. Yeah, you're eating that, but I'm not eating that. I don't know what that is. Like, that's my dog in a nutshell. Like, he sees me eat a cucumber. He's like, holy crap, human is eating. Can I have some? And I'm like, yeah, have some. He's like, yeah, that's not food. He doesn't believe the lies. You can tell Titan doesn't have lab in him to eat everything. He actually does, dude. It's a small amount. We got him DNA tested. He's like 5% lab. He loves cheese, Tessa. He'll eat cheese. Oh yeah, he loves cheese. Graham, your mother likes to gaslight you sometimes, saying she didn't eat any food on her way home, but I can smell it in the car. I don't know what to... I mean, Graham, let your mom eat, please. How dare you feed healthy food to the dog? Titan very much enjoys meat. That dog is very much a carnivore. Like, very much carnivore. I mean, it's an Australian cattle dog. It's part dingo. He likes meat. That's what he does. All right, next bit of news. Exploration Ground System team successfully tested the liquid hydrogen tanks at NASA's Kennedy Launch Complex. Oh, Launch Complex 39B. The newest of the two tanks is the largest in the world. Its capacity of 1.25 million gallons, or 4.73 million liters, minimizes the time between launch attempts. Yep. So at 39B, does Titan like rice? He'll eat it if it's with something else, but no. 39B has 2 hydrogen tanks installed. See? NASA made another one. They made another one because they needed 2 hydrogen tanks for fueling SLS Block 1B, which has a Hydrolox upper stage, so you need more hydrogen. But the benefit of that is for now, with the Block 1 SLS configuration, that if something scrubs, you can recycle a lot quicker because you have a higher fuel amount on the pad, which is good. That's good stuff, man. The SLS program is making steady progress. I really wish the progress would go faster, but, you know, I'll take this for now. Speaking of that, check this out. So in the VAB, they have the boat tail for the Artemis 3 core stage. So if you want to be very, very, very technical, there's 2 SLS rockets being assembled in the VAB right now. That is the very bottom of the core stage. So if we look over here at our SLS green run footage, you see those cap pieces that are attached to the motors? It's that piece. The bottom floor, so to speak, up there of SLS. That's the boat tail. The aft boat tail, which is the aft part of the MPS, the main propulsion system, which is the 4 engines. Braslack, 104, month resub. Artemis 2 and 3, yeah. So, yeah, they're getting parts here. Technically, and that's a big technically, there is 2 SLSs in the VAB being built right now. Technically. Moonoxus! Thank you for the Prime sub. Appreciate you, buddy. I don't know, Graham. Alex had an interesting post about this. Oh, yeah? Alejandro Alcantarilla Pinto Bin Ramira. What this post is missing is the fact that this piece was supposedly already installed on the engine section back in October of last year. NASA even posted pictures of this at the time. Seeing it now not installed is a head scratcher. Why is that a head scratcher? How do they make hydrogen gas at industrial scale for stuff like Hydrolox rockets? Is it just hydrolysis? That's pretty much it, Synth. Yeah. Just electrolyze? Yeah. Hydrolysis. Yeah. Electrolyze water. And you can make hydrogen gas in vast quantities and then freeze it. So, I don't know why this is a big deal for Alex. They're obviously gonna... Okay. So, here, let me explain. And I'm not trying to say that Alex is wrong or anything either. I'm not trying to be a jerk. You gotta, David Willis, you gotta understand the processing flow for SLS. So look, there's that same piece inside of the VAB. This is inside of the transfer aisle right there, see? But dead giveaway, it's all covered up. You're not integrating this. Not now, at least. SLS's processing flow uses what's called the SSPF, the former Space Station Processing Facility, to assemble the engine section for Artemis. Now, why? Well, during SLS construction, NASA figured out that it's better to assemble the engine section inside of a clean room. Why? A clean room is basically a sterile environment, right? That's a really cool space way of saying that. Like surgically clean. Now, the reason why is because SLS's MPS is just a shuttle MPS that's cylindric with it's a cylinder. It's just a cylinder. It's basically the shuttle engine section, but not a triangle with 3 engines. It's a cylinder with 4 engines. But it's the same thing, more or less, with just a little bit more complicated plumbing. And since you're bolting the back of the space shuttle basically onto a core stage every time you go to launch the thing, right? It makes sense to do that in a clean room environment. So, a little while back, NASA made the decision to use this, the former Space Station Module Processing Facility right here, the SSPF. They made the decision of using this as the place where they'll assemble the engine sections. Now, if you're going to assemble the aft bow tail and all the other paraphernalia that needs to be inside of the engine section, you'd take the bow tail off. You'd take it off and you'd store it somewhere. Probably store it in the place where you're going to put the thing back together. Hint, hint. So what's most likely going to happen here is that they'll assemble the engine section in the clean room environment. This is the MPS for Artemis 3. Put all the engines together. Put the whole thing together. Get the whole thing working. Get it over to the VAB where they'll integrate it with the core stage. Now, how do I know they're going to move it to the VAB? Well, SLS recently installed the SLS program recently installed a gigantic jig in one of the VAB's high bays, High Bay 2. Inside of High Bay 2, there is a jig that was made by a AAA manufacturer called Futuramic. Futuramic is makes assembly line equipment, believe it or not. They make assembly line equipment in Michigan. They're a Michigan company. Futuramic has this jig piece that they built inside of High Bay 2. This jig piece here is designed for core stage integration. Meaning that when the MPS is finished for Artemis 3, when all the engines are installed and all the paraphernalia is installed that's needed to be installed in the clean room environment, they'll pull the MPS and they'll put it here and they'll put the bow tail, they'll attach the bow tail on it there. Which is why the bow tail is right there. See over there where that American flag is? And the POW MIA flag? See that? And then see the flags hanging on the wall? You can't tell, but those are all the service branch flags hanging on the wall right there. I know they're there because I know. Just bear with me. Now go back and look at David Willis's picture. This picture of the Artemis 3 bow tail. Look what's on the wall. See what I mean? They're storing this. They're storing it next to the Futuramic jig. That bow tail is like right there. It's right through that fence. They're storing it here, so when they go to assemble the Artemis 3 core stage inside of High Bay 2, they'll have the bow tail ready. They'll probably put the bow tail in first. And then put the MPS in. Basically, the MPS is not needed for engine installation. That's why it's in 2 separate places. Now, that doesn't, if you really want to know, so why is it in one piece in this picture? Well, because it was these parts, all these pieces were manufactured in Michoud in Louisiana. NASA moved the assembly of the MPS to the Cape, not the fabrication. So they probably shipped it in one piece. Not probably. They shipped it in one piece because it's easier. That's why it's in 2 pieces. It's part of the SLS processing flow, which is picking up pace, which is actually pretty damn cool. I'll tell Alex this off stream. The core stage was transported fully assembled to the Cape from Nishud. For Artemis 1 and for Artemis 2 spoiled, yes. From Artemis 3 and beyond, they're using that hybridized processing flow. Yep. That, in fact, that's a picture of a fully assembled core stage. They used core stage 2 to test the jig out, to make sure that the assembly, it fits in the assembly jig correctly. Yep. And then they tested pulling the fully assembled thing out of the jig, and then what they did right after that was bring it over to the high bay and stack it over there to high bay 3.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
If SLS 2 and 3 are successful, do you see a chance of NASA ordering more flights? They already have an engineer. NASA's ordered Artemis 4 and 5. Yeah. I don't like talking about it in here, but one big beautiful bill basically put funding on the books for Artemis 4 and 5. And the EUS. And the human landing system and SLD and a bunch of other stuff. It's very heavy-handed on the human exploration side of things, not so heavy-handed on the science side of things. Hey, Doom, what's up, man? 106-month resub. Getting your cheapo AC/DC TIG set. Oh. Nice. So check this out. NASA Marshall has an update here. In case you missed it, teams at NASA Marshall have been working on a first-of-its-kind demonstration testing an innovative approach to achieve zero boil-off storage of liquid hydrogen, which could prevent the loss of valuable propellant during long-duration space travel. Don't mind if I do. So not Bon Scott, yeah. This song's about an old fat woman from Tasmania. This song's called Ho Laura Rosie. No, not that one. I don't think he's talking about that one, Paul. All right, let's see what we got here. Could be both. You could play it while he's welding. Touché. Touché, good sir. Give me one moment. Cool. All right. In the vacuum of space where temperatures can plunge to minus 455 Fahrenheit, yes, good unit of measurement. It might seem like keeping things cold would be easy, but the reality is more complex for preserving ultra-cold fluid propellants or fuel that can easily overheat from onboard systems, solar radiation, and spacecraft exhaust. The solution is a method called cryogenic fluid management, a suite of technologies that stores and transfers and measures super cold fluids for the surface of the Moon, Mars, and future long-duration spaceflight missions. Super cold or cryogenic fluid tanks like liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen are the most common propellants for space exploration. Despite its chilling environment, space has a hot effect on these propellants because of their low boiling points. About minus 424 degrees Fahrenheit on liquid hydrogen and minus 298 for liquid oxygen. I believe that's like minus 290 C and minus 190 C, I think, putting them at risk for boil-off. In a first-of-a-kind demonstration, teams at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama, are testing an innovative approach to achieve zero boil-off storage of liquid hydrogen using 2 stages of active cooling, which could prevent the loss of valuable propellant. Technologies for reducing propellant loss must be implemented for successful long-duration missions to deep space like the Moon and Mars. 2-stage cooling prevents propellant loss and successfully allows for long-term storage of propellants, whether in transit or on the surface of a planetary body. The new technique, known as tube-on-tank cooling, integrates 2 cryocoolers or cooling devices to keep propellant cold and thwart multiple heat sources. Helium, chilled to 424 degrees Fahrenheit, circulates through tubes attached to the outer wall of the propellant tank. Cool. Teams installed the propellant tank in a test stand at NASA Marshall in early June. And the 90-day test campaign is scheduled to conclude in September. The tank is wrapped in a multi-layer insulated blanket that includes a thin aluminum heat shield fitted in between layers. A second set of tubes carrying helium at about minus 298 Fahrenheit is integrated into the shield. This intermediate cooling layer intercepts and rejects incoming heat before it reaches the tank, easing the heat load on the tube-on-tank system. To prevent dangerous pressure buildup in the propellant tank and current spaceflight systems, boil-off vapors must be vented. Resulting in the loss of valuable fuel. Limiting such propellant losses is crucial to the success of NASA's most ambitious missions, including future crewed journeys to Mars, which will require storing large amount of cryogenic propellant in space for months or even years. So far, cryogenic fuels have only been used for missions lasting less than a week. To get to Mars and have a sustainable presence, you need to preserve cryogens for use as a rocket or lander propellant. Rockets currently control their propellant through margin, where larger tanks are designed to hold more propellant than what is needed for a mission. Propellant loss isn't an issue with the short trips because the loss is factored into this margin. But human exploration missions to Mars or longer at the Moon will require a different approach because there are very large tanks that would be needed. Cryogenic fluid management portfolio is a cross-agency team based at Marshall and the agency's Glenn Research Center in Cleveland. Cryogenic portfolios work under NASA's Technology Demonstration Missions Program as part of NASA's Space Technology Mission Directorate, and is comprised for more than 20 individual technology development activities. 2 layers, stage layers of liquid helium, or liquid helium. Yeah, you could say that. That's pretty good, man. Pretty cool. I really hope that this tech would, how about we apply this tech to the EUS or something? Maybe we have a 2-stage helium-cooled cryogenic box. That'd be pretty cool. Neat. So, the X-37, guys, another little bit of news here. X-37B is tooling up for another flight. The X-37B's is a U.S. Air Force and kind of Space Force 2 now, small shuttle. It has the payload bay that's about the size of like a pickup truck bed, and the Air Force uses it for missions that do things. How would something work like that on Starship? I would use that on Starship's header tanks, not on its main tanks. I'd use it on the header tanks. But yeah, you could do that, sure. Absolutely. Methane is easier to mitigate boil off than hydrogen. Hydrogen sucks to mitigate boil off. The biggest reason is just the temperature. Hydrogen is a liquid. Hydrogen can be a liquid or a gas. You can't really have solid hydrogen. If you can, I'm to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure that's impossible. But in most of hydrogen's, from absolute zero to however, most of hydrogen is gas, right? Hydrogen only exists as a liquid near absolute zero. So it's very, very difficult to keep that temperature range. Liquid methane has a much wider range, albeit not much more, but a much wider range in which it exists as a liquid, so it's a little bit easier to mitigate boil off with it. With hydrogen, it sucks. The second you have like a 1 Kelvin difference in your hydrogen, it'll turn to gas. It'll turn to gas and it'll leak. Oh yeah, a big pain in the butt. Anyway, the X-37B is tooling up for another mission. Guys, the last mission that the X-37B flew was launched on a Falcon Heavy, and Falcon Heavy put an X-37B into a geostationary transfer orbit. And get this, dudes. The X-37B re-entered from GTO, which is from geostationary transfer orbit. Now, you know, I hear GTO as a car guy and go, huh? It re-entered from geostationary orbit. Re-entered from geostationary orbit, which is a big deal. That's crazy. So for the people that don't understand what a geostationary transfer orbit is, it's an orbit with its highest point 23,000 miles that way, or about, 37,000 kilometers that way. It fell from that high. That re-entry got a little toasty, but it did make it back in one piece. That was the last mission. I don't know what this next mission is doing, but that's cool that it's cool that we got another one on the books. Pontiac? Well, Pontiac's GTO is a tribute. John DeLorean wanted to do a tribute to Ferrari, so he co-opted the name. GTO stands for Gran Turismo Omologato. Pontiac GTO is homage to the Ferrari GTO. Yeah, you want to talk car history? I'm your guy. Who's launching this X-37 mission? Everybody got that? X-37B is preparing for its 8th mission. Space Plane is equipped with a service module carrying experiments for AFRL and Defense Innovation Unit. Okay, what rocket? Oh, wait a minute. What is this? With each successive flight, the X-37B has demonstrated adaptability and flexibility by hosting diverse environments and pioneering new orbital regimes. Hagar or Roth? I find myself listening to Roth more, Mike. But I don't hate Van Hagar. Oh, you got the details for me, Kate? What's up? Launching on Falcon 9. From 39A. This mission will host demonstrations of high bandwidth intersatellite laser communications technologies, as well as the highest performing quantum inertial sensor ever tested. Oh. I didn't even know that was a thing until now. Quantum inertial sensors? Okay. Okay. Oh. I'm sorry, Air Force Research Lab. I was unfamiliar with your game. Holy crap, that's a thing? Accelerometers that use, or inertial measuring units that use quantum physics. That's, yeah, okay. Okay, I guess that's a thing. All right, sweet. That's really good INS. Yeah. Dude, can you, how can you, okay, all right. Idiot quantum physics question, chat. Maybe you guys know. How do you, how does the inertial sensor, if it's using quantum physics, take into account uncertainty principle? how does it... You know what? I'll bet you if we knew the answer to that, we'd probably be... that. Anyway. I don't even know if that's the right... I'm asking the right question, to be 100% honest with you. Ah, Alex, good call. Good call. Good call. Oh, Captain Glacier, you got something for me? What is this? If you could track your rotation and acceleration in any direction over time, you can calculate your exact position and velocity relative to your starting point, without relying on external inputs such as GPS or landmarks. That's called inertial navigation. That's right. The accuracy of your initial sensor determines the accuracy of your position and velocity derived from the measured acceleration. Today, the most accurate inertial sensors are based on an atom. Big words are coming. Today, the most accurate inertial sensors are based on atom interferometry, which is created by cooling and manipulating individual, typically alkaline atoms with laser beams. What the A popular choice of atom for atom interferometry is rubidium-87, which requires a high-power 780 nm beam of light with narrow line width and high beam quality. Huh. Very high quality beam. Very respectful. Very demure. NM, yeah, nanometer, yes. I just said NM because I forgot. Okay. Time domain optics for atomic quantum matter. Are you kidding me, dude? Man, I thought what I was working on with the big rocket was cool. Who the hell thought of this? I think the people working on this might be a tiny bit smarter than me. Yeah, me too, Robolai. I guess that's the thing. Quantum inertial sensors. Holy crap, dude. You need that for the underwater robots you work with. Really, and Nancy. Cool, man. 780 nanometers, the border between visible and infrared. Really? In racing, we call them aliens. Yeah. Space Force will leverage insights from this mission to inform future space architectures. OTV's laser communications demonstration will mark an important step for the Space Force's ability to leverage commercial space networks as part of proliferated, diversified, and redundant space architectures. In doing so, it will strengthen the resilience, reliability, and adaptability and data transport speeds of our satellite and communication architectures. There's that laser stuff that that guy was talking about a little bit earlier. It's a techno demonstrator, dude. It's not mainstream viable yet. Okay, if anybody's wondering what the hell that sentence made, like what does that sentence say? You know the tight beam from Star Trek? That. Tight beam? Hail, tight beam. That's what that is. In real life, though. Yeah, Doom, for sure. No, I got you. Oh, there's more. The revolutionary quantum inertial sensor will demonstrate precise positioning, navigation, and timing in a GPS-denied environment. Yeah, looks like you were right, Aqualux. If you're using quantum physics for your inertial navigation, that's not jammable. Oh. Quantum inertial sensors used for navigation in deep and cislunar space promise to push the technological frontiers of long-distance space travel and exploration. So you're saying Star Trek wasn't a documentary? Bro, you basically at this point have a tricorder in your pocket. So, no. Also, Star Trek, dude, Brimo and I have been working through the original series. Definitely had flat screens in Star Trek in 1960s. They're definitely using flat screen. Like, oh, that's flat screen TV. Wait a minute. That must have made no sense at the time. Yeah, Hellfish, that. What if we entangle the atoms? Checkmate, physicists. Bro, that's, Okay, so one, that's super cool that they're telling us X-37B payloads. Two, quantum INS is... That's pretty good, man. That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat, man. Holy crap. That's, Excuse me, streamer. When inertial damper could... Could you use that for that? It's not smoke coming out of my ears, is there? No? All right, we're good. I don't think you could use that for that, Hellfish. Could you use that for that? Flame trench discussion for the X-37B, done. Lasers can stop inertia for atoms, but it gets ridiculous power requirements as the mass go up. SpaceX tweet for ship 37. Okay. The answer is technically yes. Well, that's what I was thinking, Hellfish. If they're using it to stop Radium 87 or whatever, I mean... Got some updates from SpaceX about moving ship 37. I mean, spoiled, you'd need a lot of power. Yeah, that's it, man, right? Like, huh. Let's go all the way to do antimatter reactors. Dude, my brain is overloaded right now. I'm transferring links about the X37. You guys wanted to put that as a topic, so I'm putting it as a topic for the Flame Trench. I would like to remind everybody that if you want to see what anything that we discuss for space news this week, if you want to see it discussed on Flame Trench, you tell me. What I'm trying to do is I took some feedback about what you guys told me about NSF in the Flame Trench and stuff, and I'm trying within my power to be able to change things. Part of that is me controlling the topics of discussion. So what I'm going to do is use all the space news that we do this week to have different discussions that basically come up with discussion topics for the Flame Trench. So if you say you want something there, I have the show notes for this week's Flame Trench over in a document over here, and I am adding the stuff as we go. And I think the X37 is plenty cool to talk about. So I'm adding all this stuff in. You see Jack's eyes quit. I'm putting the quantum. I'm doing that right now. I'm adding the quantum INS in there because that's super freaking cool. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, yo, we gotta talk about this. This is pretty sick, man. That's pretty sick, Chubbs. That's actually super cool. That INS stuff is pretty awesome. Here's a good 3-minute JPL video on the topic of what they've been doing in the Cold Atom Lab on the ISS, including inertial sensing. Well, I'm not sure if we can share video, but I don't think there's a way to watch Gilmore, dude. Yeah, Brandon, well, let me know, dude. Let me know. Now I'm building up the I'm building up the document, dude. And honestly, I'm just taking these excerpts from this website here. I'm throwing it on there because that's really cool. That we'll take that excerpt too. Sweet. Can't show JPL video? I don't know what NASA space flight thing is with that. Wait, Gilmore's... Kate, who is this? I don't know. Launch Heaven. What's that? Nice, Rocketron. It's unofficial, some guy with a camera. I don't want to restream that without permission. Which sucks, but... How many days do all the shuttles have put together in space versus the X-37B? The X-37B surpassed them a long time ago, goalie. There's no way the shuttles have 4,200 days in space. Not a chance. Not a chance. I don't know what the cumulative time is, dude, but I'm pretty sure the last X-37B mission by itself surpassed all the shuttles, dude. The X-37B is a monster, dude. Videos in the public domain. Okay. All right. Is that relevant to discussion? All right, I'll add it just to be sure. All right. So this last bit, I'll do a little bit more for the X-37. Guys, I got to do a little bit more. I don't want to waste your time here. So, oh, this is the last bit of Starship information. I asked somebody to link this up. So Zach noticed this. Check this out. This is on that pad. The staging pad underneath pad B chopsticks appears to have 4 embedded plates for a static fire test stand. It's almost hard to imagine, but it seems like SpaceX is planning to eventually transport ships directly to the launch site after static fire testing. It will probably be a long time until we see that, but it's smart to plan ahead. Yeah. Interesting. When did Zach post this? Yesterday. Damn, dude, look at that thing. Over 3 decades of service, NASA's space shuttle fleet accumulated a remarkable total of 1,300 days in space. The X-37B just completely dunked on that, all systems. And I'm pretty sure Dragon has too. Oh, hang on. We got a new Elon tweet. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? This is V2 Starship. V3 hopefully launches at the end of the year. Yep. Unmanned versus manned is an unfair comparison. Dragon. Then spoiled. Dragon. I guarantee you Dragon's passed it already. Dude, look, I ain't dumping on the shuttle. The shuttle's amazing. And the shuttle could do way more than a Dragon and an X-37 could, but what I'm trying to say, spoiled, let me just get down to brass tacks. What I'm trying to say is that we should have flown the shuttle more, dude. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that fair? Is that a fair thing to say? X-37 and Dragon have surpassed that, and that kind of sucks. I'm sorry, I kind of was getting to it in a weird roundabout way. We should have made so many more shuttles. Shuttles should have been rolling out this quickly. Okay. The X-37 has a military budget. So did the shuttle. Our first mistake was not making a factory the size of Michoud for space shuttles. Do you guys want to see the factory where the space shuttles were made? Your first mistake was building them in a frigging hangar. That's it. See those buildings? That's where the space shuttles were made. Dude, there should have been an entire damn factory the size of the Skunk Works to make that. That's the Skunk Works right there. That's plant 42. See, look at this. This little baby hangar compared to this. Boeing assembly lines are essentially big hangars. That's not the point I'm trying to make, you dope. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that it should have been a bigger hangar. Man. It's not that, but that's a normal sized hangar. The factory should have been the size of this damn whole thing right here. The whole parcel of land should have been factory. You don't own space. NASA does. You know NASA? People that launch into space? Maybe you've heard of them? The fact that you could just dial up these locations on Google Earth. Am I weird? That's a little weird, isn't it, Logan? Yeah. What is this? A space shuttle facility for ants? How can we mass produce shuttles if we can only fit 3 inside of the building? The real factory has to be at least 3 times as big. I have a vision. It needs to be at least that big. Like you said, Spoiled. It needs to be at least that big. You're absolutely right. I have a vision. Venus Aerospace did a flight of a high thrust RDRE. Really, Hallingar? Ooh, KC-46s. You see that? That's the factory that Boeing built to make 747s back in the day. That was the star factory of its time. And now they use it to manufacture little wimpy 777s, not the queen of disguise. They use it to manufacture little girly KC-46s. No. Oh, look. Bunch of uncompleted planes outside. Look at these little girly 777s. Oh, no, actually, I think those are Dreamliners. Yeah, they're Dreamliners. But still, look at the little girly Dreamliners. No, those are bad. No, Boeing, no, that is so not right. Keep making 747s. I don't want to hear your belly aching. What? You want more 747s, right? They should have never stopped making them. That was dumb. Yeah, 777. That's great. That's awesome. You can't attach a shuttle to the top of a 777, all right? It'll never be as cool. It'll never be as cool. It just looks like every other plane that's flying, just bigger. That's dumb. Where's my 747? Bring him back. We need to bring it back. We should write an angry letter. Are you gonna watch Eris off screen? Yeah, ship. If I can't, dude, there's no point. Like, I don't want to sit here and watch it and not have you guys watch it, you know? We bought one back from the Saudis. No, that's not the same. That ain't the same. Anyway. Qataris. Potato, tomato, yeah. Wish I could have flown in a 747. There's still plenty of them flying, dude. All right. Did the Aussie rocket go yet? No, not to my knowledge. I still want to trip 747 with 4 GE9Xs on it. Don't we all? Hellfish, I seriously think the wing box can't hold up 4 GE9s. I'm pretty sure. But, once again, if your boy hits the lottery, I will put that theory to the test for you. Just for you. So, one last bit of space news here before we finish up. One last bit of space news for everybody. It's actually more plain news. It's not about Oshkosh, but in this thing, I want to show you how not to fly an F-18. See this? That's an F-18. An FA-18, not a Super Hornet. It's an F-18. Nice plane. Here's how not to fly one. That is a certifiable pucker moment. That is not a very pro gamer move. Oh, that was close. That was close. Almost died. That's me in War Thunder. That was really close to ending really badly. That was at an air show in Spain. Yeah, that was not planned. Yeah. From to real fast. Yep. All right, dudes. Well, we went to about 9 o'clock. Not dodging a missile? I don't think so. Missile man. About to dodge a missile like a mother trucker, man. Rimworld. I actually kind of wanted to mess with Kerbal again. We had a breakthrough of that dang thing. That's an upside down question mark sort of maneuver. Yep. One last piece of news. DARPA transmitted wireless power. Sets new record for wireless power beaming. The latest effort beamed 800 watts over 8.6 kilometers. The great distance records previously recorded were 230 watts of average power for 25 seconds at 1.7 kilometers and an undisclosed amount of power at 3.7. This one did 800 watts for 30 seconds at 8.6 kilometers away, so 8,600 meters. A persistent optical wireless energy relay power program team recorded over 800 watts of power. Huh. Power team leader Paul Jaffe? The estimated receiver efficiency is around 20%. In other studies, some industrial lasers have recorded a wall plug efficiency higher than 50%. Higher receiver efficiencies are achievable, especially with the use of photovoltaic cells optimized for particular wavelengths, whose product is usually costly and time-consuming. That was not the case here. The team used commercial ready-to-use solar cells placed within a receiver. Go ahead, Dino. Do it. So they're shooting a laser at solar panels? Just so you know, they suspected a bird strike into the right wing on that F-18. Yeah. Either way, certifiable pucker moment. He wanted an aircraft that doesn't look like others. I like the blended wing. I want to show the blended wing. Seen that already, Limprod. At least I think I have. I have not seen that one. What is this? Blended wing bodies! Blended wing bodies! Yes! Jet Zero, huh? Cool. That's awesome, man. So, what's that, Dons? We are currently expecting our launch window to open net Tuesday, July 29th. However, do monitor our website for updates. That's Gilmore. So, Tuesday at 11 would be midnight, our time. Haven't those been 2 years away for like a decade? Blended wings? Yeah, Neptune. Solar panels made. They're shooting the light into a... They're transmitting the power by shooting light into a solar panel. It's currently 11 a.m. here. Oh, man, that's going to be late. Cygnus news, Phil? What is this? Do we have the next Cygnus being made? Technicians use a crane to lift Northrop Grumman's Cygnus spacecraft pressurized cargo module out of the shipping container on July 10th, 2025. Inside the Space Systems processing facility at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, the new extended Cygnus capsule scheduled to launch net fall 2025 will carry stuff to the ISS. Okay. Yeah, don't drop it this time, okay? Wow, four rungs. 4 rungs. That thing is huge. They stretched it again. Dude, how big is it? Bigness. It ain't Cygnus, it's bigness. Look at that thing. It's freaking gigantic. Guys, the original Cygnus cargo, the original Cygnus PCM, pressurized cargo module, was 2. It was 2 rungs. Now it's 4. Pray to God you don't drop that stuff. It did say extended. It's bigness. Yeah, Mutter, it may have said extended, but you know what I say? I'm tired. Will they need a Falcon Heavy over here? No. No. Falcon 9 could yeet that thing, no problem. How big was the shuttle MPLM? Way bigger than that. The shuttle MPLM was way wider, dude. Here, I'll show you. So look at the front. See right there? That's called a CBM, Common Berthing Mechanism. All right, that's the docking port that couples the USOS segments together. Okay? That's like how the modules are joined together. They use the same mechanism for incoming spacecraft, right? That need to be berthed, okay? See the diameter right there? Okay? Remember that diameter, okay? That's a shuttle MPLM. See the diameter there? The MPLM is gigantic compared to Cygnus. It's way bigger, almost double the diameter. Yep. Space keg. Shouldn't have stopped flying the shuttle. Sorry. I know. It's been retired for 14 years. I don't care. They shouldn't have stopped flying it. That was stupid. That was dumb. It was dumb, okay? Anyway. An intergalactic kegger? No, we're not hosting an intergalactic kegger. Okay? New law. The Cygnus spacecraft will double in length every 13 years. Hey, boss, have you looked at Steam recently? What do you want? What do you want? I'm looking at Steam right now. There's nothing is different. So I was talking to a Stoke guy. You should see the first launch Q2 of next year. Got it. Nice, Aqualux. We've read about that before. No gift? I don't see any gifts here. Would Cygnus fit inside of an MPLM? The smaller ones, yeah, probably. I don't see anything, Tessa. Anyway. Your Starship is stretched to 12 meters. It's nearly doubling propellant volume. Yeah, maybe. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. You got RimWorld. Boy. Cool. Thank you. All right. Guys, that's going to do it for Space News. Space News went a little bit long today. So, I'm just going to forego after hours, and we will do a long stream tomorrow. I think, so tomorrow, dudes, we're going to do Hearts of Iron. Tomorrow, there's going to be no Space News. We are going to go straight through on a Hearts of Iron playthrough in one shot. Okay? But, yeah. We should be good for Summer Car on Wednesday. Probably Kerbal and Summer Car. And then Thursday and Friday, we should be good for working on the actual car. Because the weather is going to be cool. Tomorrow and Wednesday are going to be warm. And Thursday, Friday is going to be way cooler because it's going to be raining. So those are the days we want to work on the car in the mornings. So we should get plenty more. We should get plenty more. Space News, Kerbal, Summer Car. I think we'll play cities on Thursday. A lot of people have been asking me how to make a starter city for City Skylines because I think we've fixed Jack's city enough. So we'll make our own city on that map, I think, on the map that he was using. I don't know what map it is. I'd have to go look. So, yeah, we got plenty more games this week. Should be fun. I will see you guys. I'll see you all tomorrow for our Hearts of Iron play. We got Hearts of Iron playthrough tomorrow. Hearts of Iron is a military history grand strategy game. Something that doesn't scratch the itch, but I would invite you to come and check it out. It is pretty fun if you like military history. It's a good time. My buddy Italics is playing RimWorld right now, so let's go see what Etal's up to. And on the Twitch side of things and on the YouTube side of things, I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching, dudes. I'll catch you later. And I will report on that Gilmore Space launch. I'm gonna watch that, but we don't really have a live stream, and I don't want to live stream somebody else's live stream without permission. That's pretty uncool. Shouldn't do that. So I'll talk to you guys then. Go raid Italics, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.